And what do the Democrats do? The first thing they do is do a motion to adjourn the House. Now, we had less than 12 hours to go before midnight tonight deadline. They do a motion to adjourn, followed by a bunch of speeches to delay a vote, and then our fellow colleague from New York, Jamal Bowman, a member of the Socialist Squad, actually pulled the fire alarm to create a fake emergency to prohibit a vote on the House floor. I mean, this is the United States Congress, people. This is not some New York City public high school. And so I'll tell you this much. What he did was a federal crime, and I'm putting in a resolution to expel him from Congress. I hope he's going to be charged with the federal crime that he committed today.
What about Mr. President comment on Congressman Jamal Bowman that pulled the fire alarm in the Cannon building and disrupt the vote?
So I think what Bowman, I don't know Bowman at all, but Jamal Bowman, a congressman from New York, did something that was as bad or worse. You look at what's happening to the J6ers, and they're putting them in jail for years and years, and this guy pulled an alarm system, and to show you how corrupt they are, he then said when he got caught, he didn't know he was on tape. I mean, I don't know how you can be in the Capitol and not know it, especially after what happened. And he said, oh, he was trying to get into a door. He thought he was opening a door. There was a door 2 feet away. He thought he was opening a door. It's a red box that says fire alarm on it. He thought he was opening it. This is the crap. And then they let him out because he's a Democrat, radical left lunatic. And he should be prosecuted the same exact way as the J6 people were prosecuted. And they've been treated, many of them have been treated more unfairly than anybody in the history of our country. And I don't know if I should be saying that because I don't know what these people behind me say, but I'll bet they agree with me. There's never been anybody treated so unfairly. Just about what they've done to the J6ers is terrible. And Bowman went and he pulled an alarm, and you could have had riots, you could have had everything else, and he did it during a vote. And he should be treated the same exact way. And we'll see what happens.
We got you! We got you. And more to come. Clown, thug, crook, criminal.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. Don't you just love watching self-righteous, virtue-signaling, radical left predators choke on their own freaking words? And I know that we covered this a couple of days ago, but I do think it's important that we keep pounding this drum because like you just saw from President Trump, you know, there really are still little old ladies rotting in prison after their guided tour went bad. So we have to make sure that this Jamal Bowman character is held to account, just like they were, probably even more than they were, because when you're a leader in Congress, so much more is expected of you. So I expect the guy to do more time. But I mean, actually, if I'm being honest, I think it's ridiculous to send the man to prison for it, even though it is a real crime. And the federal government really could and probably would send you or me to prison for decades for the very, very same thing. You know, I'd be happy with probation and a loss of his seat. That'll work just fine. But, you know, a lot of people, they want him to really, really hang out for this. But anyway, the real reason I think that we have to keep this story alive is because this is a real and true test of the Republicans that we've sent to Congress to show us that they're either about winning the game that they play or that they're going to continue to be complete and total losers. Because even the most mushy-brained victims of propaganda can still recognize that if a Republican lawmaker had done this, the Democrats would be calling for their head on a pike on the steps of the Capitol, and they probably would have already had it. There is no doubt. So honestly, man, if you ask me, anything short of giving the Capitol Police a few days to kind of get out of the way, and then regardless of what conclusion they draw, you have to have a vote on the House floor to censure, reprimand, and expel the man from Congress. You know, whatever Republicans vote no, or even, you know, weaker votes like present or just abstain, you know, they have absolutely got to be out in the cold in his place. I'm dead serious. You know, this is a test of how strong that this party is. And if we all should just keep pretending that we have any real hope. You know, I'm a little suspect of our chances. You know, this is always when we get real weak in the knees. But let's have a look at what Kevin McCarthy has to say about it.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We know you've got to go. Otherwise, somebody's going to pull the fire alarm.
Actually, just one last thing. We have 20 seconds. What are you going to do? Nicole Malliotakis wants Bowman, Congressman Bowman, out. Are you going to support his ouster?
Well, first of all, we're going to go through the investigation. What's really interesting, this is a former principal. He knows what a fire alarm is. This is a man that has gone on and yelled at members, and his behavior has been unbecoming. But what's interesting, if it really was just an accident, when the Capitol Police came to interview you, why would you lawyer up right away?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just say, oh my gosh, I made a mistake here? Why would you let it go on?
What do you believe
everybody
happened?
knows
What do you
you've been
really
there
think
long
happened?
enough. You know how to get to the Capitol.
Yeah.
So you think he knew this was all
Oh,
on purpose?
everybody. If you know this individual, everybody knows. And if you've been a principal, you've had fire alarms and you've had children pull fire alarms.
It's
so is that where you
elementary
go
school
to the
101.
childish action?
Yeah.
Do you want to see his phone to see if Hakeem Jeffries told him to do it?
I do not believe Hakeem Jeffries would ever say to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mr. Speaker, we know you got to go. You got a lot.
He said if you know one of them,
going
you
on.
know he did it. The other one, I don't think he would tell it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, man. So a couple things that I didn't know there. The guy was a freaking principal. And I didn't know he lawyered up as soon as the Capitol Police came knocking. So we literally learned, speaking of him being a principal, we literally learned in elementary school to stay the hell away from the fire alarm. And please, there's a lot of internet sleuths out there. Please, someone on the internet, find out how many kids he had to expel or suspend for this exact same thing when he was a principal. Because there is some number that had to have happened. And all that said, man, it doesn't, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, but it doesn't seem to me like Speaker McCarthy is really taking this deal all that seriously. I actually think that seeing the guy's phone to see if there is some sort of conspiracy involved in this is a really damn good idea. You know, I am with Kevin. I don't think that Jeffries would say it. I doubt that Jeffries even talks to this clown, but I'd bet you that someone else was at least involved in planning the idea, because all this was an attempt to delay, impede, stop a congressional proceeding. You know, they were in the middle of a vote. The Democrats had already tried to delay and were complaining about not being able to delay. So instead of filibustering it, like the rest of his slightly more intelligent colleagues were doing, Bowman decides that he's got the power to stop it himself. So I got to ask, what does make this different from what the Jan 6ers are charged with? You know, did he need to be on his way to see Nancy for this to qualify? Did he need to be saying something like, you know, hang Mike or whatever? I don't know. You guys tell me. But if you guys aren't familiar, this guy is expecting us to believe that he mistook the big red fire alarm in a very, very well-marked emergency-only exit for one of those blue wheelchair automatic door opening buttons. Even though the video shows him pulling it while not facing the door, not looking like he intended to use the exit. And then immediately, apparently, he ran to another exit before asking for a lawyer the second the Capitol Police came to see him. So no one believes this. Not even the Democrat protectors and propagandists in the media. But they don't believe it. But that is not stopping them from bending over backwards and literally winning giant trophies for mental gymnastics. Trying to assure, convince, and literally control the people that are still crazy enough to listen to them. So look, man, this guy obstructed an official government proceeding. And an important one, actually. One to actually fund and continue the operation of the government that his party has told us is so, so terribly important. You know, the same people who were suggesting, literally the same people who were suggesting that conservative Congress people get expelled from Congress and sent to jail after January 6th are now literally breaking their own brains to explain how this is different. They're even giving their best outrage performance, pretending to be angry that anyone would even dare compare the two. They're all doing it. They're all doing it. But of course, the intelligent, the tolerant, the very, very beautiful ladies of The View, as always, are award-winning. Take a look at this.
My buddy Jamal Bowman.
All right, so.
Okay, so Democratic House member allegedly pulled a fire alarm. He claims that it was because he was trying to get to the House floor. The video seems to, or pictures suggest otherwise. I think it was because the CR came out and he wanted more time to read the bill. But rather, again, than Congress passing a bill that would allow for him to have more time to read it, he literally pulled the fire alarm. It'd be like if I was like, didn't like the next topic and I pulled the fire alarm and ran out. We just can't do that.
What's absolutely ridiculous, though, is that there's MAGA Republicans that are somehow equating this guy doing this infantile stunt with January 6th. To my knowledge, nobody died because this guy pulled that stunt. To my knowledge, nobody was bleeding. Nobody was attacked because of this stunt.
And I don't want to call it a stunt yet. There's going to be an investigation. I know Jamal. And so, again, I'm a little biased. But the doors that are normally open so that he could get to the chambers to read were somehow miraculously closed. How did that happen? And so, yes, sometimes you're freaking out and you're in an elevator and you're pressing all the buttons.
It goes to what you were saying. It goes to them not having the time. It is quite possible that he was trying to get there and the door, not panic, but you know, if you're not looking, because it's a door that's normally open, you just go and you press a button. You know,
Not the fire alarm button. Like, I was so scared of that button.
I don't know, because I don't know what I haven't seen the fire alarm button, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't like fire exit only sign. It was like active.
Because you have to break glass to press to get to the button. Well, so I don't know.
I don't know. It seems pretty fire alarmy to me.
I don't know. It just looks like a button. I can't see the button.
I think he could. He was a little closer.
Did anybody in this audience pull up a fire alarm to get out of a 7th grade test?
Brian, raise your hand.
Yeah, we know you did, Brian.
I guess my point is, you know, if you're not sure, then put it up find out what it was, as opposed to just saying, you know, you did this to do that. Because when people pull stunts, I tend to think that they may be more full of it than he is. You know, people who pull this kind of stunt who say, and you only have 3 minutes to read it. I kind of think, oh, all right, well, maybe. Because I know I would have pressed everything if you told me I had to get in there. I would have pressed whatever I had to press to get the door to open, because I knew you would expect me not to be there to vote. So you don't know. We'll be right back.
So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. There is so much to unpack there. But here's the thing. Literally anytime any of these unhinged leftists want to talk about January 6th, you know, the one fake conservative there on The View trying to say that this is different because what Bowman did didn't lead to anyone dying. Well, I'm sure that she's aware of this, but in case she really isn't, no one who was charged with what Bowman actually did, which was obstructing an official proceeding, no one was charged with obstructing an official proceeding in which someone died. That had nothing to do with it. That's not even to mention the fact that the only person who was murdered on that day was an unarmed, mostly peaceful protester. But that's the game that these people play, man. They want to make grandiose false equivalencies, you know, and they want to mislead anyone dumb enough to believe them into thinking that this is somehow different, that this is just a juvenile stunt. Well, I'm sorry, man, but this juvenile stunt happens to have about 15 different federal statutes that the DOJ would have already charged if the roles were reversed. So honestly, it's just ridiculous to even think about going there. I almost prefer the completely lame and benign explanation of Alyssa Farah Griffin, who basically said, yeah, it looks like he did it, but I'm sure he just wanted more time to read the bill, which I get wanting more time. You know, honestly, I do get wanting to read more time, but look, bro, you guys made these rules. You guys do this kind of junk every time. And regardless, you know, you cannot commit a federal crime, even a juvenile one, because for whatever reason, you're not ready. You know, I'm not even going to talk about Whoopi's explanation. You know, she didn't even care enough to look into it before she ran her big fat mouth. She didn't even care. And I promise you, if that was a member of the Freedom Caucus, she'd have made herself aware of every single stinking detail, and she'd be the one saying that this was another insurrectionist crime. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, and this is just my take, guys. Let me know what you think, man. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the comments. Is Kevin McCarthy going to actually be about it and actually do something about this? Or is this another weak Republican moment waiting to happen? Let me know, guys. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.